The definition of classification and filing system. Classification is a process of identifying and arranging records and archives in categories according to logically structured conventions, methods, and procedural rules represented in a classification system. The filing system is a process which involves classification, arrangement, storage, control, and indexing of files for the purpose of retrieving when it is needed. The objective of classification system firstly is to collect and preserve the document, secondly to provide information and guidance, lastly is to collect evidence. The importance of filing system. Firstly is to keep the document safe. Secondly, to keep everyone on the safe page. Thirdly is to improve efficiency. And lastly is to reduce the cost. Firstly is to keep the document safe. An organized filing system should keep these important documents safe to prevent from lose or misplace a document. Secondly is improve efficiency, to be more productive and spend less time sorting through hundreds of documents. Instead, you can easily find the one you need. Next is keep everyone on the safe page. Communication in the workplace is a huge, and making sure items are in the place and order that they should be can have a positive impact on any business. Lastly is reduce the cost. Make sure all the documents have been checked and through and get rid of any documents that are not needed. The impact of improper classification and filing system to organization is financial, productivity, legal, and data loss. Financial. Companies run into trouble with taxes and budgets which they may ripple to handling payroll as well when records slip through the cracks or aren't properly tracked. Productivity. Loss out of efficiency and waste money since the time of money were used for other things. For legal, if business face legal action or audit, the organization of records keeping will be difficult to produce records in a timely. For data loss, all the data or information will be lost or misplaced will force company to come to a grinding halt or even close their doors if they are lost permanently. Current issues in classification and filing system. Firstly is limited users access. Secondly is data security. Thirdly is coding. Firstly is limited users access. Having access restricted to a relatively small number of points to prevent any corruption on the files. Secondly is data security. The data in the filing system will be damaged when there are a problem with the system. For example, existing file may be misplaced or lost because the system is not controlled 100% by humans. Thirdly is coding. Coding is the process of assigning a code to something for classification or identification to determine the codes and color code for each file.
Our group chose Jabatan Bantuan Guaman. Okay, first, the history of Jabatan Bantuan Guaman. In 1954, Legal Aid Bureau was contemplated. In 1960, Kuala Lumpur requests free legal advice. In 1969, the issue was referred to the Attorney General and then Attorney General supported the proposal. In 1970, Legal Aid Bureau was established. In 1985, Bureau was placed under the Attorney General Chambers. In 1995, Bureau was placed under the Ministry of Law. And 2010, the names of the Legal Aid Bureau was being changed to the Legal Aid Department. Next, vision and mission of JBG. The vision is to leading legal aid services to provide access to justice. And the mission is to provide quality professional legal aid services to qualified citizens to ensure access to justice. Here, this is organization chart of Jabatan Bantuan Guaman that lead by Ketua Pengarah, followed by Timbalan Ketua Pengarah and JBJ branches. There are a few functions and activity of JBG. First is to give legal advice on all legal matter. Second is to represent in the second schedule, which is criminal proceeding, and the third schedule of Acts 26, which are civil and Sharia proceeding. Next is to provide mediation service for Sharia and civil cases. And last, to provide legal compensation service.
Manual filing system is the traditional submission method either by hand or typewriter. Taxpayers usually perform complex calculation using mental arithmetic or calculator, and then the return is delivered to the tax agency through the postal service or in person. Manual classification filing system consists two steps, which are general classification and specific classification. General classification systems are more to the general activity. This is the example of general activities. While specific classification are more to the function of organizational. This is the example of function specific classification. There are two benefits of manual classification system filings. First, manual record keeping less expensive to set up. The correcting entries may be easier with manual system, as opposed to computerized ones that can leave complicated audit trails. Second, the risk of corrupted data is much less. Data loss is less of risk, particularly if records are stored in a fireproof environment.
The difference of housekeeping file and functional file. Housekeeping file is the record relating to those general administrative activities common to all organizations, such as administration, building and assets, equipment and supplies, finance and human resource. The functional file is a formal document used to describe a product's instant capabilities, appearance and interaction with users in detail for software developers, and the functional file is a kind of guideline and continuing reference point as the developer write the programming code. This is the sample of filing system Jabatan Bantuan Guaman. For the housekeeping files, it will start with 100 to 500, and for the functional file, it's called as 600 to 900. I will give one example of a housekeeping file, which is 100, consists to pentadbiran as a function, net perhubungan awam and seranta as a activity, and the sub-activity is publicity and promosi, and the last one is publicity, promosi and sidang akhbar as a file. And all the filing information will be arranged as an example in this slide. Next is an example of functional file. For the functional file, which is 600, and it consists to Bantuan Guaman as a function. Next, for activity, atau peraturan atau piawaian atau dasar. Penggubalan atau pindaan atau aktar as the sub-activity, and the last one is pindaan akta 26 as a file.
As a conclusion, Jabatan Bantuan Guaman used the manual system filing to ensure the safety of the records or document from data loss and keep them as an evidence in the future. Jabatan Bantuan Guaman need to have a proper classification in the filing system so that the agency can keep the documents in a safe place and be able to find them easily. Then, the documents that are cared for will not easily tear, get lost or dirty. A filing system is the central record-keeping system for an organization.